everyone, CMeeCraft here, and welcome to a very special episode here on CMeeCraft Let's Play. For obvious reasons, I suppose. Firstly, hello! This is what I look like. Hi. The man behind the mask, although I don't really have a physical mask, so I guess that metaphor doesn't make a ton of sense. But the man behind the channel, here I am, in the flesh. And there is a good reason for that. I'm not just arbitrarily deciding, now I exist physically, in temporal form now. And that is because today you have clicked on a wonderful video where we are going to be playing a tabletop game. A real, honest-to-goodness, in the world, on a physical table, tabletop game. Specifically, Time Travel Entertainment Incorporated, by one Alexander Bennett, which just so happens to be me. So yes, this is a game that I designed and is being published by Button Shy Games, which they're a card game company. They do great stuff, honestly. They focus on these small card games, usually 18 cards or less in the game. And yeah, so it's an RPG, a comedic RPG, very streamlined. Think Dungeons and Dragons, but more streamlined and probably more comedically focused, I would imagine. So in similar vein to that, at least in what is trying to be evoked. Mechanically very different, but you'll see that with the video. And so basically, I've got some friends together here, and we're going to be playing a game of Time Travel Entertainment Incorporated. Going into the Great Emu War. It'll be fun, let me tell you. But before we get into that, I do want to kind of show you guys how the game works mechanically. That way you're not entirely lost as we are playing this game. So, let's get into that. In Time Travel Entertainment Incorporated, each player chooses one of a numerous quantity of robots to play as. In this case, I've chosen the politician here. Alright. Each robot comes with 3 CPU cards. That's these things right here. The way the game works is it goes around clockwise in turns. So one player will act, then another player, then another player, then another player. When it's your turn, these cards determine what you can do. Whatever word on the card, so each card has 4 actions on it, right? One on each side of the card. Whichever one is upright from the player's perspective, so in this case that would be the top ones here, those 3 actions are what the players can do on their turn. So in this case I can debate, lie, or grandstand. So that means on your turn you must do one of those 3 things. The trick is trying to come up with a way to use those limited actions to be useful. So basically you got to come up with a justification for how a given action can be used to your benefit on your turn. So for example, sometimes it'll be easy, right? Maybe we're trying to get into a restricted area that we're not allowed in, and I can just lie to try to get in, right? Very simple. Oftentimes it's not going to be that simple. Say, for example, there's a gladiator running up trying to kill me. Well, I can try grandstanding, and maybe I can grandstand before the crowd gathered to watch the fight about how gladiator fighting is wrong, and we should put a stop to this in an effort to hopefully not get killed by the gladiator. And I can try that. Whatever you do, though, once you use an action, you rotate the card, and now you would get a different action that is available to be used. So in this case, we've got signing and voting now, right? Each time you use the action, you rotate the card, and new actions come your way. Now, as for whether or not the actions succeed, it comes down to a die roll. Each CPU has a different odds. The leftmost one succeeds on a 2 or better. The middle one succeeds on a 3 or better. And the rightmost one succeeds on a 4 or better. No matter what you're doing, as long as the action was accepted as something that you can do, and you've got a logical link between what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve, you can do that action, and those are the odds that apply. If you succeed, then another player narrates how exactly you succeeded and what sort of obstacles might come up for the next player to deal with. And if you fail, well, you're going to have to roll for damage. Regardless of how exactly you failed, if you roll a 2 or less, you take damage and lose one of your CPU cards. If you lose all of them, you die and are out of the game. If everyone dies, then you lose. But ultimately, the mechanics here are very light, but very good at setting up really sort of improv scenarios for the players to deal with. And boy, is it fun to deal with them. So let's get into the game now that we understand how it works. Hello everyone, CMeeCraft here, and welcome to a very special video on the CMeeCraft Let's Play YouTube channel. Because today, we are playing... well, first of all, this is a game in real life, which we haven't done before, which is exciting. But also, it's a game that I created. Time Travel Entertainment Incorporated. This is being designed by me, Alexander Bennett, so now you know my name, congratulations. And published by the wonderful folks over at Button Shy. So, welcome. Today we're going to be doing a bit of a kind of playthrough of the game, so you can get a feel for what it's like. And yeah, I think we, well, let's just introduce ourselves first. We'll start. I'm Alexander Bennett. Hi.
Hi, I'm Chris Walker.
I'm Alexis.
I'm Gunnar Breed.
Alright, so, we have already started by taking our robots. I am playing as a washing machine, effectively.
I'm an ATM, pretty much. I like it.
You know, I'm a little influencer robot. That's okay.
And I'm a fencer robot.
Alright. And so the basic premise of this game is we have we're time traveling robots, going around history, making achieving different tasks in hopefully fun, hilarious fashion. So today we are going to the Great Emu War. This was a war when Australia went to war with emus and lost. But today we're gonna change that, aren't we? So. We are in Australia. I'd say we're in a... We'll start off, we're just in the middle of like the Australian outback desert.
Alright.
We're looking for emus. So we're here to hopefully slay some emus. And actually we're accompanied by a couple Australian soldiers, helping with the task at hand. I imagine we're in like probably like a jeep sort of vehicle going along the... outback or wherever you find emus in Australia.
A convoy. There's more than one of us.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think we see any emus yet, but there are probably, well, who knows? Well, maybe we can find out where the emus are. Locating them is probably going to be our first objective here. All right. So, Chris, it is your turn.
So what I'm going to do is I am going to try to talk to all of the... locals that we find around to see if we can find any clues on where we can find any emus.
That's a 2, so since that's your best action card, that actually succeeds on a 2. So as we're driving through, the Australian wilderness, we run into some, peoples, maybe some hunters, maybe a couple aboriginals, if that's the right term for that these days. And you're able to... You receive word, or you hear from them that it's they've spotted kind of a big, almost like a herd. I'm not sure if that's the right word to use in the context of emus, but like a herd of emus that's been just kind of moving out through the Australian wilderness to the north of where we are.
So now we head up to the north, and we take our convoy and we head north.
Okay. So now, Alexis, it's your turn, and don't forget to rotate that card.
Okay. I'm gonna complain the entire time on our way there, in hopes that we get there any faster, and potentially just annoy and get everyone angry.
And since you have rolled a 1...
You gotta roll for damage. Let's see if your complaining somehow costs damage.
We're clapping back at them.
Well, if it's a 2 or lower, you take damage. No damage.
No damage.
Just emotional damage.
But how did the complaining fail, Chris?
The complaining failed because you fell on deaf ears, as we are robots and we do not have emotions. So we ride idly by and continue on our trudge north to find the large herd of emus.
All right. Gunnar. We're still moving towards that herd. What you gonna do?
I'm gonna talk to the Australian soldiers that are helping us because I want to talk about, what a group of emus should actually be called. Because if they're like a bird, it's like a duck, which in case it would be a gaggle. Oh no, that's a goose.
Geese.
Yeah,
Or gaggles.
gaggles of geese. So is it a gaggle? Is it a flock? Is it a group? Is it a boy band? I don't know. So I'm gonna roll for talk. Oh,
Alright. And you gotta roll for damage.
I gotta roll
See
for
if
damage.
somehow that damaged you.
okay.
You're safe from that. So,
So tell me how I failed to talk to the soldiers.
You got nervous.
I got
You got nervous. You choked. You were distracted, and I think you did try to say something, but it just came out as a bunch of like incoherent babbling. Because I don't know how they're gonna hear you through that mask.
That's a good point. I do have a fencing mask. Alright, so I gotta turn it this way.
yes. Okay, so I guess we're still en route.
Yes.
Yeah, as we're moving along, I want to make sure that our vehicle is, remains functional. So I'm just going to give it a nice dusting, Make sure there's no, dust clogging up the engine or whatever. I mean, this is the early 1900s. I'm sure the vehicles aren't quite as robust as they are these days, so you got to keep good maintenance on it. Does that sound reasonable, Gunnar?
That sounds fine.
Okay. Alright, so I need a 2 or better.
2.
A 5.
Right. So you do begin to dust the vehicle, but unfortunately while you were dusting, your duster got caught in the engine, and so you actually broke down the car that we were in, and now we're all stuck in one car.
Man, that was a success.
Now we're all crammed in one vehicle, all four of us robots, and then 2 or 3 Australian soldiers.
Okay.
Okay, as we're trudging along and now puttering in one vehicle, we have reached our destination.
Okay.
So we all funnel out as if we were clowns coming out of a clown car. And what we are going to do now is I'm going to reach out and I'm going to examine around to see if I can find any markings or droppings or any way that I can find where we can find where these emus are. All right, we're living big here.
So you're looking around, the environment in general, and you see what you think might be emu tracks, right? And so you just keep looking at it just to be sure that it's not like ostrich tracks or something somehow.
Right.
I think that might even be a different continent, but you just got to be sure.
You have to be sure.
And then as you're really examining those footprints, you look up and there's just an emu right there, but it's like a small one, probably like a baby emu.
A baby emu?
A baby emu. Or maybe it's like a teenager emu. I don't know. It might be going through a goth phase or something. Who knows?
Side slut bangs.
All right, so now.
Is the emu looking at Chris?
All right. With that emu looking at Chris.
Emu.
I'm gonna compliment it in hopes that he kind of goes, aww, and then he leaves Chris alone.
2. That is a fail. Roll for damage. No damage.
No damage.
Right. You got saved.
So the emu was unfazed by your compliments and is still taking me down, squaring me right in the face.
All right. Woo. There we go. On a second attempt to deter the emu from Chris, I plan to threaten it, saying that I'm going to kidnap its family and I'm going to tie them all together, and that I am going to make
Emus do.
wings.
Those would be big
because
wings.
their wings are pointless anyways. They don't use them to fly, so I just want to, borrow them for a little bit. You know what I mean? Okay. So close.
No.
Now I got to roll for damage.
No. It's
Right.
3. You were successful. 2,
Was
3,
it?
and 4, right?
Is
Yes.
it 2, 3, 4?
2 or better, 2 or better, 3 better. 4.
Oh, so it's
3.
successful,
So it was success. Your threatening works.
isn't it?
Oh, sorry.
She gets
Oh,
to.
yeah.
I would have been fine. Okay. Your threatening works, and he runs off in a hurry, not without bumping into the car at first.
Okay.
And damaging the windshield.
The windshield?
The windshield.
Did you jump over it and jump on the windshield?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right.
So that emu's on the run.
Yeah.
On the run.
So I'm going to talk to our fellow soldiers and be like, "Hey, you see that thing? Go get it! Get in the car, everyone! Now we gotta follow this thing because maybe it's running back to its family or something, And then we can have the Great Emu Massacre for the Great Emu War.
Just spin the block.
But, we'll see. This is my weakest card, so. Ooh, it's a fail. And do I take damage? I do not.
The soldiers quickly get in the car, and they close the doors before we can get in, and they take off after the emu, leaving us all behind.
Ooh.
There's only a trail of dust following them because, for some reason, they can go 0 to 60 in light
Real quick.
speed. So, yeah, real quick, like Drake. So, yeah, we're just standing there now.
Okay.
All right. So as we're moving along, or rolling, walking, and rolling, walking and rolling along, as the wonderful band that we are, we stop and we find a local tribe of Aboriginals who are staring us down, and I must donate some of our goods that we have to them so they, 1, don't harm us, and 2, hopefully help us down the road to either find our vehicle and our compadres or the emus.
Okay, sounds good.
Huzzah!
Alright, so you donate, so you just take some cash out of you. And I imagine you do it probably in the form of gold coins or something, because obviously USD they probably don't care about.
This is true.
So you flash some bling for the Aboriginals and say hey, we're going emu hunting. Okay, can you help us with that? And then in no time at all, they run and they've got their spears, their bows, or whatever else they have, and they're ready to just go find the emu. They also have a very experienced tracker with them that is going to then lead, has volunteered to lead to find that emu that ran off.
Let's go.
I zoned out. They're coming with us to track.
So we've got a whole hunting party of Aboriginals with us, and a professional Aboriginal tracker ready to help us find the emu, and we're on our way there.
The emu.
Alright.
Could be best.
The Twemo.
I think I'm gonna talk to them, see what's up, see what they know about the emus, and if they know any special shortcuts or any emu bases around the area. Secret bases.
Yeah, success. So on our way through, we find this slightly better shortcut that we get through. And we're approaching, and we see the feathers of all of the emu out. But then there's this entrance. So as we approach this entrance, we are just waiting for.
So the entrance, the emu base.
Yes.
Okay, so we're standing at the entrance of the emu base, and then I'm going to point out the sound of a bunch of thudding of emu feet running. And as we're just now deciphering what it is, you can just see a bunch of black dots coming out of the cave and a bunch of dust following them, and they're running straight towards us.
You just point at it. Hey, look at that, guys.
And it is unsuccessful.
Roll for damage.
Roll for damage.
Yeah, we've been lucky with the damage so far.
Lucky with the damage, not with my rolls.
Alexis?
No damage?
No damage.
So nothing bad comes out of it?
Well, it didn't
That
succeed,
depends.
but it's like he doesn't get like
Okay.
roughed up necessarily.
So his point doesn't work. No one was looking. Not
Oh.
a single person was looking at him pointing.
Okay.
So, but luckily they are still a few ways away before anything serious happens.
But I don't know that. And it's my turn
You
next.
don't.
I don't. Okay. What am I gonna do? This. You know, okay. So, I imagine obviously I didn't notice his pointing, but if it's hopefully fairly obvious the emus are coming, then maybe I at least catch a bit of wind of it. I'm like, oh, is that a thing? So what I'm going to do is, like, if they're charging, I'm thinking I'm going to just start vacuuming. Because you know what animals hate? Vacuum cleaners. Right? And that hopefully will be able to break the emu's charge and give us an opportunity to attack. Okay.
A couple prairie dogs over there. They're like...
The vacuum strategy. Here we go. A 2, it is unsuccessful.
Rolling for damage.
Rolling for damage. Ooh, I take damage.
Oh.
Oh no. You get absolutely mauled by the emus as they all go around us, but only over you. Only over you.
I enraged them, but I meant to scare them. No.
Because you turned on the vacuum cleaner and they felt threatened, and they tried to claim it as self-defense. They even tried to make a police report, but they didn't actually stop, so they just kind of kept going without you. And they run past all of us.
Yeah, and so since now I've taken damage, I actually lose one of my cards here that gives me my actions. I'm going to lose my leftmost one because it sucks. And now I'm basically a third of the way dead. So how are we progressing now, Chris?
All right, so now that we've taken some small damage here, what we're going to do is...
The emus are winning.
The emus, as of right now, the emus are winning. What I am going to attempt to do is I'm going to identify, we are all going to jump in, we are going to crouch down, and we are going to identify as emus. For the simple fact that we no longer can get harmed, nor are we really going to take away the element of surprise. So we're just going to have to see if our identification can work.
Okay, it does. So as in the wake of me having been completely and utterly trampled, you pull out your fake emu identification. It's like a driver's license, but obviously emus don't drive. So it's kind of like a pilot's license, but obviously emus don't fly. So it's just kind of a general identification license sort of deal.
Like a library.
And
ID card. A library. a blockbuster card.
And so I imagine on there, it's like, it's you, but it's like you've just got like a bunch of feathers in like the picture, just kind of randomly poking out of various parts of your machinery. And so an emu like stops and like takes a good long look at it. It's like, yeah, whatever. And the emus just continue on their way. And they've actually so they've trampled on me and now they're going out to somewhere, who knows. And actually you can hear a bit of gunfire in the distance.
So were we still with the emus? Or did they...
They've now wandered off and past us. We're still right there towards the entrance of the emu base.
I imagine there's still some emus
Fortification.
in the base, too.
I would imagine. We haven't gone in yet, but we've kind of been left right where we started.
Okay.
And the emu have wandered past us, the group that have just stomped out Mr. Bennett over here.
Violently. Like he owed them money.
No, I won't do that. I'm gonna examine the sounds of the gunshots, see where it's coming from, what kind of gun it could be. I don't know, I feel like you could do that. You can tell what kind of gun it is from a gunshot.
You can tell if it's a big one.
Tell if it's a big one. How many rounds, if it's a semi, if it's an on.
Boom.
Boom, boom, boom. The booms are scary.
And it is a success. So you have correctly identified where the gunshots are coming from and that they are rifles. We have also identified through that those were our Australian counterparts who had left us previous in the Jeep. So now we have turned and we are starting to make our way around the immediate direction of the gunfire and trying to hit or get to where it started to see if we can meet up with our Australian military friends.
Okay.
All right. So, as we approach our Australian homies, who are
Who abandoned
currently
us.
who abandoned us, they're like, "Hey, where have y'all been?" What the heck? So we pulled up on them. They're like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "Yo, are those the emus that you guys are like on?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right, we need to launch a counterattack." They just jumped our homie, Mr. Washing Machine, and they left him looking like Stephen Hawking. So we got to act very fast. I'm gonna roll for success, and I get it. It is a 4,
Okay.
so it's successful.
A successful counterattack.
Yes. How does it?
How does it play out?
Your counterattack, it plays out very, very well. You gather all of the Australian men planning your counterattack, and you do a full-on charge towards the emus. Just a reckless charge. But the good thing is you're all together, so no one's,
No one's separated.
it's not like sporadic or anything.
Mhm.
But then, just as you're about to catch the emus off guard, one of them turns around and just kind of like, "Hey, hold on."
Hey,
Look at these guys.
where do they come from?
Okay, so you counterattack. Now there's an emu that's kind of giving you a look. Like,
Kinda like-
yeah. So I'm going to, I know it's not quite the expression, but I don't have that action available. I'm going to scrub that look right off his face. And, basically, actually literally scrub him.
Scrub it off of his face.
And, I think I'll have, use some of those, like, high, like the dangerous chemicals for cleaning.
Oh,
To leave it some burns there.
chemical burning.
Yeah.
It's messed up.
So, let's see if that works. Okay, a 4, so that works.
Nope. So you begin to scrub this emu's face, and as it starts to get chemical burns on its face, it starts making large, loud, squawking noises, alerting the rest of the emus, in which our counterattack would have been fine, unless you set off an alarm, like a very large bird.
That squawks.
It makes loud noises. And so all of the emus start to turn around, or at least half of them, so that some of them are still facing some of the soldiers, because it's kind of a counterattack. We kind of did like a flank thing.
Like a pincer sort of maneuver?
Sort of, yeah, like trying to pinch them in. But now they're all facing kind of like outwards, and they outnumber us. So,
Well, I'm glad we have an ATM going next.
we do have an ATM. We can try to do something.
So, with that said, I am going to initially distract these emu by bribing them with the remaining food source that I have. So I have now taken our military supplies from the truck. I've carried them with me in my cash. I traded them.
ATMs can hold a lot of stuff.
Deposit box.
That's right. And I am now bribing the emus with food.
Okay. I'd like to see how this pans out.
The high point one.
Okay. 4, that succeeds
That
on
works.
4 better.
2, 3, and 4. So my bribe has worked.
Okay. So as the emus starts, looking at us and they start advancing, you just kind of you let some just the foods, the supplies, just kind of go on the ground. You're like, wait. You can have this, and as long as you don't attack us. And the emus, they look at it and they look at you and they're like, maybe. And then they just start, having a real intense and honestly quite philosophical debate amongst themselves as to whether or not to accept the bribe. So they aren't even in combat mode like at all anymore. They've gone full, like I think one of them's wearing a toga and they're just like, debating the morality of whether or not to accept this bribe and, benefit the whole emu society by getting more resources, or if the betrayal of their, goal of destroying the enemy is such an important thing that accepting the bribe would be unacceptable.
Very democratic.
Yes.
As it was in ancient Greece, within Australia, in the emu community.
Well, they know about it.
They know about it. They know about Caesar.
Yeah, I mean, the British colonized Australia, so I'm sure they picked it up.
Good point.
So now, I see that they're, debating a little bit about it, and I'm just like, okay, hey, I know what'll change your mind. So I bring out a box of, you know what? No, it's just a box. It's a wrapped box.
Is it like the J.J. Abrams mystery box?
Exactly. It's a mystery box, and I'm like, look, if you let us go, here's a mystery box. You don't know what's in it. I don't even know what's in it. I might, but I'm not telling you. I love mystery boxes.
Ooh, it really
yes!
works.
And the mystery box was a success. The leader now steps up of the emu, the biggest one, and squawks something to his flock. The emus grab all of the belongings that we have offered, and they are now turning back and heading towards their den, lair, whatever it is called.
Interesting. Now, this is ultimately our end game to try to, eradicate them. So
Yeah.
we're going to have to figure out how to switch gears to that eventually.
No, my man's got this.
I see as the emus are retreating, and I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted that they accepted it. And I wanted to fight them. So I stabbed the biggest emu in the face.
You should
As
stab
I
him
run
in the
around
back.
Or in the
Stab
back
him
of
in
the
the
head.
back.
Back of the head. I just run up and completely, skewer him
Holy
through the
grail.
noggin. Yeah, like the Holy Grail, when he threw the sword, he was like, "Swah!" Like I was like, "Oh." Yeah, it's like that. So, and it's
It
successful.
works.
Okay. So, you stabbing it worked successfully, and, the couple emu bystanders around that one emu just kind of turn back and they're like, this guy's crazy.
Right?
But then, they turn around and they start surrounding all the robots. They're like, hey, not cool. You just gave us peace offerings, and now you're quite literally stabbing us in the back.
Okay.
Yeah, big dog.
So, I mean, yeah. Honestly, we've tried negotiating with the emus. It worked for a bit, and then it didn't. So I'm just going to start punching out emus. We're just going to get it in there, punch them.
Get in there.
Yeah.
Start rocking.
Okay, let's see if it works out. A 2, but that's
Huzzah,
that
it
works,
works.
because that's my best one.
All right. So as you start Mike Tysoning emus, you're doing straight uppercuts.
I said punch, not bite.
I was gonna get to that.
Okay.
I was gonna say, as you're socking them, hitting them with uppercuts, you're dodging and dipping, you're bobbing and weaving. You might even bite a couple of ears if they had any, but they're emus, so they don't. So you kind of get a little bit of feather. You know what I mean? And as you start going your way through them and you're hitting them, you're knocking them out with 1, 2. The second biggest emu comes up, and he looks like Deontay Wilder, because he's friggin' huge.
Super emu.
Yeah, super emu. He's went through the same, super soldier serum as Captain America, but it's Captain Australia, so it's not as good, but it's almost there. He's pretty huge. Now you're squaring up with this man amongst the chaos of all of us fighting emus.
Okay.
As I look over and I see this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to deposit enough change underneath the opposite edge of this boulder so I can create enough leverage and I can continue to push it so where I can roll this boulder all the way down and attempting to squeeze as many of the emu as I can. Hopefully, this will work.
I'll allow it.
Okay.
So you're you've got your coins. You're just coin after coin after coin. Slowly and steadily getting this boulder to just start slightly tilting. And it's one of those things. It's slow, and then it's all at once as you slide in, just like one last dime, and then all of a sudden the boulder starts rolling down this hill, and it rolls right through the kind of main body of the emu army. And there's got to be at least 2, maybe 3 dozen emus that get like crushed by the boulder. Broken legs. It's even worse. It is bad for the emus, and they're in a disarray now. They're just running all over the place. Some of them are going back, rushing back towards the base. Some of them are like trying to, really go after all the other robots and the Australian soldiers, of course, which have been doing an admirable job, just kind of shooting these guys as we've been doing this. And they're just so some of them are trying to swarm and if we're going down, you're going down with us. And some of them are like, no, we're out of here. We're going back to the base where we know it's safe. And so chaos has ensued.
Alright. So what I plan to do is I take out my handy dandy, camera, and I'm going to photograph everything that's going on. But
the PR war is very important.
Oh yeah. But I do have this ginormous flash on it. Because, you have to get the lighting right, especially if you're outside. It could be a little difficult. And when I photograph them, it's like a solar flare moment, I've seen too much Dragon Ball lately.
And it works. So as she's out there tagging pictures, and this flash pops, and as it does, all the emu are stunned by said flash, and they are now rendered motionless. So they have all taken in this flash, and it has freaked them out so bad that they have frozen.
They've frozen.
It's like a deer in the headlights, so it's an emu in the flashlight.
I was going to say, like an emu in the flash. Huh? All right, as the emu are standing, frozen, all of them looking absolutely in one direction, I'm going to do a huge, big brain move, and I'm going to slash about 10 of them at one time.
Ooh, nice.
Clean cuts.
Hopefully. It is unsuccessful.
But do you take damage?
Let us find out.
You do not.
You do not. So, his slash has failed. Where does this put us?
As you're pulling out, your little, whatchamacallit?
My
Your
sword. My rapier.
Your sword, it jams a little bit. You kind of get stuck. How it jams? Rust. All the sand from the outback, all the dirt and the sand gets stuck. So now you're standing there, and you're like, "Oh, there's nothing I can do."
I love the image here because, so the emus are frozen, and then he's about to slash, and it's like he's frozen too.
What's going on?
It's like a snapshot in time. Now, I do have a question, y'all. Do you think am I still facing off against this big one, or do you think that was resolved by the boulder or something?
The bigger they are, the dumber they are. So I think he's looking at the flash too, but it's kind of taking even longer because he's like, you know what I mean?
Fair enough.
I think he was initially distracted by the boulder, and then the flash has now taken his interest, piqued his real interest.
Okay. Scold or launder him? They say that the most important part of any war is logistics. And we've been out in the outback, we've been out in the deserts and the dust, getting all dirty and stuff. So I'm going to take this opportunity where the emus are all stunned. I'm just going to launder us some, of course the Australian soldiers who have been doing a great job that have been with us the whole time. I'm just going to launder us some nice clean uniforms and clothes and stuff. That way we can be all nice and fresh as this battle rages on. And also I'm going to use my laundering as an opportunity to just kind of sneak away from the big guy.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds
plausible.
Okay.
It's plausible.
Okay, a 2, so that fails.
When that fails, you just roll for damage.
Yes.
There's a one.
I'm the unluckiest.
Okay, so unfortunately, as you decide to turn around and try to launder your stuff, as his eyesight is not very good because he is very big, his hearing is also really good. So he hears you turn around because you're full of water and he hears whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And so he immediately sees you and drop kicks you. And you get sent flying into the car, which dents in one side.
Yeah. That's not even going to be good for the insurance.
No, not for your health insurance either.
Oh, yeah. Don't tell me about that. Do I need that as a robot?
Well, you might not, get your warranty.
Have I voided my warranty?
You voided your
No!
warranty, yeah. It looks like you attempted to open the back, so they can't help you.
Drats. That's Chris. I imagine by now the emus are probably starting to recover from the flash.
They have, and with them coming to their senses, I am going to go back and I'm going to have to launch a full-scale punching attack to get my way through to try to get all of us back together again.
Okay. 3, so that is a success.
It is a success, my friend.
Okay, so you just start punching emus, and between the flash, which is to them some sort of crazy, like strange magic technology, and just these robots with their metal hands, which let's keep them on metal hands, just punching these emus. Their resolve and morale has completely broken at this point. They scatter. Most of them are heading towards the back towards the base to hope. I guess they're probably trying to regroup there and perhaps stage a proper defense, but others are probably just scattering to the wind. There's probably at least a few defectors there who are lame to begin with, very cowardly emus. The emus are probably better off that they're not in the ranks anymore anyway. But so the emus have scattered. We've won this battle, but the war still rages, of course.
So with the war still going on, because I like to be a little goofy, silly, haha, funny robot. I'm going to pull a cute little prank on the robots, and I'm going to go up to them with a cute little, jack-in-the-box thing, and I'm going to be like, hey, look at this. I'm going to ring it up, but instead of a little jack-in-the-box, it's a full-on, foam fist. But it's not actually foam. It's, steel, and it's just, it's going to punch them in the face.
The emus or the robots?
The emus.
Okay, you said robots.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay, because that would have done damage to us.
I was like, dang.
I was like, dang, I'm going to have to...
We should send them the box. We should send the emus the box.
Right. What did I do? Well, I did kind of ruin the whole peace treaty thing, but, other than that, what did I do?
Your blade stuck and you couldn't
blade
do anything
jammed.
proper.
But what did you do?
But what about...
Come to think of it, why did you even sheath it between that initial stab and the slash?
That's what it was. It was the emu blood. It stuck.
Yeah.
It is thicker than water.
That doesn't work.
Or does it fail?
Your prank does not work. So you have sent them the gift, and then they have...
It's a
We gotta
roll
roll
damage.
No damage.
No damage. Okay, there you go.
And so the emus have returned it to sender, and we knew what the package was, so we were successfully able to get rid of it. So no one opened it up and got punched in the face.
We were like, why would you do that? Why would you even try anything like that? All right.
It might have been the washing machine. He's only got one life to live.
How are you all so healthy? We're in the war.
I don't know, man. Let me see. Like to examine some of the remaining emu that stuck around, some of the defectors, some of the ones that did not go with the rest of the pack into the base.
Okay.
Some of them were injured, some of them were dead, a lot of them dead. As you said, 3 or 4 dozens, roughly, something like that. Squish, very much squish. And I look upon them and I see one lone emu standing apart from the rest. It's the emo emu. He's standing there. He looks heartbroken. He looks confused. And so I wanted to go examine his physical status. See if he's injured. See what's going on. And it is successful.
So about this emu.
How is it successful?
That was previously staring me in the face. Now.
So the emu, you successfully, you walk up to him and you're like, hey man, how's it going? You know, he's acting like he's got his earbuds in, listening to like Drake, Lil Peep, all that, you know, X,
My Chemical Romance,
my MCR.
all of that.
He just looks so sad. He wishes that this war would not go on any longer. It's tearing apart his family. It's tearing him apart from the creators, the emo creators that he loves so dearly. Thankfully, he's not wounded.
Mm.
Just throw that little bit in there. He's not
Okay.
wounded. He's okay.
Alright.
Okay. So, how am I gonna... Well, I think, we just went through a big battle, lots of, exertion, lots of perspiration, and I think, everyone here could just use a good old splash of water on the face to, cool off we've been fighting the Australian outback. I'm sure that's hot, probably. Never been, but I'm sure it's hot out there. So I'm just going to splash everyone with some water in the face in preparation for us to head to that emu base and finish this.
Sounds pretty good.
And it works.
So.
Alright. As you begin to splash everybody, and everybody very much appreciates it, semi-us robots, because we have no sensation, but we appreciate the gesture.
Mm-hmm.
Because you hit the car, causing it to dent, and you got kicked in the back, your back plate falls off, and you kind of feel a little bit exposed, so you get a little bit embarrassed.
Huh.
Which kind of makes the moment awkward when you're coming over and splashing everybody, because you're like, hey, here you go, and you're kind of like covering your backside. Yeah.
So now that I'm perfectly, wonderfully refreshed, and I'm rested, and we have the emu in our ranks now. He's kind of hanging out with us. He's pretty good. I'm going to propose a trade to said emu to show us how we can end this war now that his family was unjustly killed by the boulder, which he doesn't know is me. I have proposed a trade. We can end this now if we can just get in there and wipe them all out, and he could give us the information that we needed to get in there. Hopefully, he will take the bait.
Okay. So that doesn't succeed.
Unsuccessful. Please roll for damage.
You do not take
No
damage. So the emu, you explain your plan of like, hey, this war's bad. Your family's getting killed and stuff. So help us genocide the forts, and then the war will be over. And the emu looks at you and is like, dude,
crap.
This is not one of those like science fiction movies where like the robots gain sentience and like, to protect humanity we need to kill humanity. Okay, I'm an emu. I'm not a stupid robot, unlike someone here. And so the emu kicks some dust in your face for the absurd notion, and now like the emu was sad and depressed before, but he's been reignited with like a new fire and determination in his eyes of like now he knows, despite all the suffering in the world, why his life has meaning. So he just books it to the fort and is presumably gonna be alerting them to and helping them with their defenses. And then we all start heading behind him towards the fort. Because, what else are we going to do?
We gotta go catch him.
We got to get the fort.
That's to go.
What are you doing, Lily Influencer?
I know how to make this work. So as we're walking there, I'm thinking, how are we going to get in there completely undetected? So I managed to see a cute...
Stealth has not been our strong suit so far.
No, it has not. I noticed a little stream exiting out the back of their little fort hideout place. So I suggest, hey, let's go in there. Maybe, hope rust doesn't overcome us with the water. We're advanced robots. We should be over that by now.
Yeah.
Time traveling robots.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Should at least be water-resistant.
Okay.
That's a success.
Nice.
So, as we approach this stream, that was suggested to us that we are floating down and moving down, and we're getting there. We come into a secret entrance into the emo lair, and we are about to come out to an opening, but we are stopping before we get there.
So we're not in the opening yet.
Now,
Just before the opening.
just before.
It's going to be a hard one.
Those are some very combat-oriented
Yeah.
roles you got there.
In a very
Actions.
non-combat mode because it's stealth.
That's not hard.
I mean, it could be though.
Maybe you could dodge detection as we go through.
Come on, man. Listen, you can thrust your head around the
Oh,
corner to
that's a good
see how
point.
it works out,
Yeah.
and you.
That's a good point.
Listen.
That is a good point.
I'd just be glad you don't only have one card.
Yeah.
There'd be cameras, and you could parry the camera out of the way so the emus don't see us. Like there's a million things, friend.
So
Use big brain action.
trying to use big brain action.
Problem is, I only got little brains.
Alright, as an idea to check out the stuff, I actually pick up Chris as the ATM and I hold him and I thrust him out into the open to see what's going on.
Okay.
But also as an ATM, he made a little bit of noise because he's got some coins in him.
It's because I jiggle.
He jiggle and he's got
It's like a
coins
piggy
in him.
bank sort of deal.
And you're like, and you got little arms and no legs, so you can't really do nothing because I'm holding you, so you're kind of like... Oh,
You gotta roll for that. It's not a free action.
And,
It does
that
not
doesn't
work.
Roll for damage.
Best person ever.
Yay, someone else took damage. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm always rooting for y'all's success.
Yeah, someone else is getting
Go,
it.
team, go! I'm not the only
Not
one.
just me.
Hey, share the burden, you know?
Share the burden.
Oh, you could
Share
pick,
the-
you could have picked whichever one you got.
Oh, I
rid
can
of.
pick?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, pick whichever one you think is the least successful.
What's
of
holding
your
you
cards.
back?
Yeah.
What's holding me back?
There's nothing holding me back.
I think I might be doing poorly because I didn't even look at the cards when I laid them out.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, jeez. It's like, I'm going to go with the washing machine.
Washer machine. Alright,
Like
check
the
out my
order,
far right
though.
card.
No.
So your thrust, it fails. As you're picking up the ATM, you realize, oh my god, he's so heavy. So you actually fall out. You actually Oh no, he actually sits right on top of you, practically waterboarding you and drowning you into the stream. And the ATM's just sitting there like, huh? He has
Trying to move
no
my
idea.
little wheels and then just spinning.
It's getting all in my mask.
Okay.
That sucks.
You're being waterboarded.
Just like, nah.
Okay, so I guess the kind of stealthy trying to not get seen approach isn't really working out so far. So I'm going to try the stealthy in disguise approach.
All right.
Right? So I'm going to pretend like I'm one of the janitors, the custodians of the emu base. I'm just going to waltz into that hall, and I'm just going to start wiping down the walls, the floorboards, doing a real tip-top shape, but also, kind of looking around, making the rounds around the base, and just seeing what's up. And, hopefully they don't notice that I'm the same guy that was punching them out earlier. But, if I'm doing a good job cleaning, they're just going to be like, hey, he cleans, therefore he's cleaner. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
It works.
It was a success.
Alright. So you go into the hall, you start wiping, you start scrubbing. Some of the emus take notice, and then they're just like, oh, that's Steve. And so they just kind of keep turning around. And as you clean, you kind of move down the hallway, and down the hallway, and down the hallway, until you get into a huge conference room where all the emos are in tuxedos / suits. And it looks like the World Health Organization because they're all kind of like in like a, big auditorium type thing. And there's the second biggest emu. He's up in the front and he's standing next to a podium. because there's another emu standing at the podium and he's talking, and it's not the leader emu that I, horribly, skewered in the face earlier. It's the real leader. The other one was a fake. So now he's about to give his speech to the other emus regarding our situation. It's like NATO.
And I guess I probably went there alone, so you all might still be at the thing.
I'm currently drowning, yes.
Yes. Yeah, so I've kind of split off from the party here. So good luck, y'all. I imagine I radioed back though, because we're future robots. I'll probably radio back. Here's the intel, guys. Here's what's going on. So you know what happened with me.
All right. So what we do is we all together with our Australian military people, and we start making our way to hone in on the ping that we got from the washing machine. We are going through, we've noticed a couple of different entrances into this hallway, and we are starting to surround and we're going through. So what we are doing as we're doing that is we're examining all of the entrances, exits, any kind of damage, anything that we can do. So we're working around now, and we're examining what we can do and how we can surround, and we can make this all come out in one motion.
It does not work. It does not work. Roll for damage. Okay, you do not take damage. So you've found blueprints of the base, and you're just examining it. You're looking this one entrance here doesn't seem like the best, and you're just trying to see if there's another way in, and there isn't. Moving on.
Moving on.
This is the one way you're gonna get into this space.
Oh yeah.
So while we're standing there completely lost because there's no other entrance other than, I'm guessing, the back entrance that we're looking at.
Yeah, we're at the back entrance, and then presumably also the front entrance.
Okay. So while we're staring at it, I just, I'm looking around at the group, and I notice, wow, everyone's all beat up and sad. I mean, our washing machine's on one life, and our ninja just got back from being waterboarded, and he's, choking. So I make a joke. I say, hey, it would be so funny if we just walked in there. Nothing would happen. Nothing bad would happen. We just walk in.
Okay.
Success.
It succeeds. So to clarify, though, are you just making the joke, or are you enacting the joke?
I am making the joke, but it's kind of like a suggestive, what could happen. What bad would happen?
What could go wrong?
So the joke is successful. We have all laughed it off, and we've decided that, you know what? We are just going to walk in there. What's the worst thing that's going to happen to us when we get in there? So we start to walk through.
Okay.
Start to walk through.
And the halls, I imagine, are looking immaculate as you're walking through.
Oh yeah, they have been superbly clean.
So is he?
You should just follow the cleanest halls. It's like a trail of breadcrumbs, except the opposite, because it's just real clean wherever I've been.
It's like that robot from Wall-E, where he's like, you know what I'm talking about?
Mo.
Yeah, Mo.
Mo.
So when we're going down the hallway, do we meet up with him, or is he sitting at the entrance of the hallway, or
Yes.
What's the deal? Okay.
I thought I was in the conference room.
He's already in the
You're
room.
in the
He's
room?
already in the room.
Okay. So he's in the room.
We are at the entrance of the room.
We
We decided that we're going
So you
in the
followed
room.
my trail.
So we're
and
just
you're
following
at
his
the
trail. We
entrance.
got there, and we're like, hey, you know what? But that joke, that was a pretty good joke. Let's just do it. And we start to walk in.
All right. So we start to walk into the conference room. Many a emu, one could say a gaggle, and or a flock.
What about a murder of emus?
Or maybe a herd. Who knows? Who knows how they
Pack.
migrate?
Gathering.
You know what else really annoyed, just as a side
Congress.
thing? Why in English are there different words for groups of different animals? It's just unnecessary.
The same reason they have silent letters. And two letters that sound like another letter.
Yeah.
You could just use the other letter.
Anyways, back to the emus.
Anyways, enough about F's and P's and H's.
Yes.
We walk in immediately. 2 security emus on either side of the door. Look at us. And look at the stage. Look at us. Look at their stage. Look at us. And they're like, these guys aren't emus. They're like, what do we do? And
They're not even cleaning.
I immediately threaten them, tell them they need to take us backstage, right behind the back to that podium. Mr. Man, I don't know who that is. He's an emu. He's talking. Because we want to get back there so that we can get the drop on him. And we can assassinate him in front of everybody. And start this whole shebang. That is successful? Because it was the middle one.
Yeah.
Alright, so it works.
So were you threatening like the guards out front?
Yeah, the security guards by the door. I threatened them to take us backstage behind the podium where the dude's speaking.
Okay.
And it worked.
So your threat did work, and they're like, "Okay, we'll take you back." They take you around back, and you're right behind the curtain, separating the podium and the backstage area. So now we're all just standing there, like, okay, how are we going to basically assassinate the leader while he's giving this big speech?
Okay. Imagine, am I still in the conference room? Because, yeah.
You're with us.
Yes.
I'm with you?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's when we walked into the conference room. We found you.
Okay, cool.
You're like, with us?
So I'm backstage right now.
Yes.
With y'all. Okay. I'd prefer to be in the conference room, because talk works better there.
Fine, then go back to the
Well,
conference room.
You can...
Yeah, I think I'm already deep undercover, so I'm just gonna stay there. It would be more suspicious if suddenly the janitor just left and
Stop cleaning.
yeah,
They're
getting accustomed to it. Yeah.
Yes.
So as I'm cleaning the conference room, I'm just starting up small talk, little conversations with the attendees. Just try to poke and prod. I'm talking to them, by the way. That's my action I'm using. Just trying to poke and prod. See can I figure out if there are any dissidents? Can I figure out if there's I don't know, maybe a ventilation shaft that we can put an explosive down and blow up the whole base or something? Just looking out for that sort of stuff.
Theoreticals.
Yeah, theoreticals. Anything that might be of use as we try to bring down the emu regime.
Okay.
And it works.
It works. So you start striking up combos, emus, left and right. They're all pretty chill. They're just hanging out. They're like, yeah, I don't know, it's been kind of rough. Lost my brother, and my sister, and my mom, my uncle, my neighbor. I never really liked my neighbor. And you're like, dang, that's crazy. Hey, anyways, is there any place that, maybe we could put some explosives or something like that? If you ever thought about it, you've thought about it.
It's the most vulnerable part in this place.
What's the best way to kill a bunch of emus at one time?
Yeah, that way we can stop that from happening.
Right. And
So if we know what to protect from,
Mhm.
we know how not to let it happen.
All right. Well, they were saying that there is a tunnel system underneath the stage, which is almost like an emergency exit for everybody who's in attendance, because they're very high value emus. This is the emu base after all. They are representatives. They're all talking, delegates, all of that. So they give you the location of all the underground tunnels because you're an employee. You should know, right? Of course, right. So
they need to be cleaned.
right, they
It's
need
been
to be
forever.
clean. And all of them are conveniently under each row of all the emus, including underneath the podium. There's enough space to fit one person. Enough space for things to be stowed.
Okay.
All right.
Chris. And I've, of course, radioed this intel to y'all.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell these plans to our Australian... Actually, I'm going to donate these plans. I'm going to go back to sticking with my selling because it's a lower number.
And it's money.
That's right. I'm going to sell these plans to the Australian counterparts so that way they can come in with their bums and start going ahead and getting underneath while they start surrounding.
Success.
I have successfully sold the plans.
Okay, so you suggest to our Australian compatriots, hey, I just got some sick intel as to a great vulnerability of the space, and I'm willing to sell it to you for a couple hundos, a couple Benjamins. But they don't know what Benjamins are. Well, they might. Anyways, point being, you ask for some Australian currency.
Yes.
In exchange. Probably, It's like the
Couple of
30s or
tarantula
something. So,
spiders.
yeah.
You know.
And so at first the Australians look at you with like kind of a look of like disappointment and betrayal, like really. After all we've been through, you're trying to make a quick buck off of us as we're trying to complete our mission.
Yes.
And then eventually the leader is just like, he rumbles and he's like, okay, fine. And he like just scrounges around in his pocket and gets like $3-4 bills. I don't think that's an actual denomination, but he's got them. And he just like puts it in your hand. Is like, is that good enough?
And I accept.
And you accept. And now the Australians have the plans, and they're looking at it and trying to devise a strategy to take advantage. But it should be noted, I've said our Australian soldiers have been great. I was lying. They're not the cream of the crop, let's just say. So I wouldn't necessarily rely on them autonomously solving this for us. I mean, in real life, the Australians lost the war, so probably shouldn't just leave it up to them. No offense to any actual Australians who may be watching. Y'all are greats. I know I couldn't survive against all those spiders and whatnot, snakes. Yeah, you guys are doing great out there.
Crocodiles.
Yeah, my
Crikey.
Australians. You know what I'm talking about.
Crikey.
Crikey.
You gave us Steve Irwin.
I was gonna say you sold them the plans for a DVD of Steve Irwin. Crikey, this will go for a banging back.
It's the most dangerous snake in the world. If he were to bite me, I would die in 30 seconds. Then
I'll pick it
shake him.
I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna poke it with a stick.
I love that guy. I miss him so much.
So I'm assuming that we're all backstage, like
Mhm.
the rest of us.
Yes.
Okay, after we've all looked at the plans, I make my way over to where I guess the entrance of the little stage tunnels are. And I notice that there's little bodyguards there protecting it, so no one can you can't just walk underneath that without some supervision.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna compliment them in an attempt to distract them. Tell them, oh, your feathers look really plush and soft today. You do have more hairs coming out of the top of your head than usual.
6.
The compliment works. So, they have been distracted by your compliments. They are now fluffing their feathers even more. They're staring at themselves in their emu mirrors. And so now, for a few moments, those main tunnels underneath the podium are now not being watched.
Okay. So, definition of watch underneath the tunnels.
The two bodyguards that were there are no longer looking.
No longer looking.
Because they are distracted by looking in the mirror because they are all fluffed up from the compliment.
Now, is the angle of the mirror also covering the tunnel where they were just looking?
That's a good question.
You can see.
You can see it.
This
All right. With the seemingly unknowing guards being distracted by themselves, as
And that's what birds do.
Emus are narcissistic. Had a friend, he never called back. It's whatever. But we begin our counterattack. Our counterattack on the emus after I failed our own counterattack that I suggested by stabbing one of them in the back of the head. Because I'm smart. Anyways, we send the Australians down the tunnel. They got their explosives. They try to start setting stuff up. Some of them forgot, stuff to stick the explosives. So they're just kind of like standing there. But yeah, we're starting to make the counterattack. Starting to put the explosives up. And it's successful.
Okay. So it is, of course, very successful. They're all down there putting all of the bombs and explosives in places. Obviously not sticking them, to the ceiling or anything. Because who just brings tape on an outback expedition?
That's a good point.
You don't think that's reading steak.
No, you don't. But
Or blue onion.
But now that the emus are done, fluffing their feathers at the mirror, they're standing watch over the little entrance to the tunnel, and they noticed that the hatch was still left open. So now they're staring down at it like, what the heck is going on here?
Okay. Interesting.
And they're looking at me like I just did something bad, and I'm like,
Your feathers look nice. That's all I
they
gotta
look
say.
nice.
They look nice.
So, I'm still in the conference room, and I'm getting kind of worried of because we're radiant back and forth, I imagine, of the commotion. And since you guys are like under the stage, it's pretty close to where I am. So, yeah, what? I feel that you're in a bit of a tough spot there with the emus. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna like. I step up to the podium, because no one's there right now, because they're on, like, intermission or whatever.
Okay.
And I step up to the podium, and I just announce, like, hey, any emus interested? Free money laundering right here, right now. You do not want to miss this. It is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So, come get it now. I know y'all are the big, high-up emus. You've got fortunes that you can't bring to bear because you acquired them illegally. You need money laundering right here, right now. I am a washing machine. I can launder like no one else's business. So please, this is only going to last for like 5, maybe 10 minutes. You got to get your money laundered and launder it now. You don't want to be walking around with dirty money in your pockets. You do not.
You must roll. I agree.
It works.
Successful. So you make your statement on money laundering. And as the emus who were at once in intermission, they hear your statement, they start filing back in the room because, one, they've all seen Ozark on Netflix, so they're really into money laundering. They're like, wow, that's a great idea. Mm-hmm. 2, some of them also like Jason Bateman, who's also in Ozark. He's the main character. So they're like, wow, this is awesome, as emus do. And, also they notice you're a washing machine. They all got suits, so they're kind of like, oh, yeah.
I can do dry cleaning, too.
It all kind of goes together. And also, because you're a washing machine, only, dry cleaning places and, mattress firms and other places like that actually do money laundering. So it just kind of all ties together. So they're really convinced by it. They all kind of just come back into the conference room, kind of in a single file line. They're birds.
Yeah.
They just kind of
very orderly.
Yeah, very, very. So they're just kind of filing back into the room, going to you, going back to their seats, kind of moving around.
Okay. There's a distraction, y'all. Use it. I'm gonna get killed by these emus eventually if you don't do this quick.
Oh, no, never is it. Oh, yeah.
You're gonna be like, hey, where's my money?
Alright, so as all this is happening, we're not doing much. We're just waiting around. So I look over and I ask the leader of the Australian military, what do we need to do to get out of here and set these things off? It was a success by the skin of my teeth.
So you ask the Australian leader, like, hey, I noticed you got the explosive set up. Like, what do we got to do to actually make this happen? And he says, like, well, all we got to do is, I can't do an Australian accent to save my life. I'm sorry, y'all. Crikey! As it turns out, all you gotta do to light these explosives is we got this big, long string here, and we're gonna light the end of it, and then this fire is going to slowly go down the string, and then eventually, crikey, it gets down to the string. I gotta say crikey every other sentence or I lose the accent. and then this whole thing's gonna blow, but we gotta figure out where we're gonna go to be at a safe distance to blow this whole thing. And hopefully, maybe not blow up the washing machine while we're at it. But who cares about him? He's just a robot. Crikey. So that's the plan.
Hell of a way to go, mate.
Alright. So, we're all getting ready. I want to say that the rope is already laid out throughout the entire tunnel. Mm-hmm. So... We're all getting ready to run out of there.
Yeah, imagine as he was explaining, like his guy's like just running the rope. He's like,
yeah.
It's like when your parents are like telling you to clean your room and then like you don't, and then like they're going through the door and you're just like shove everything like in the closet under the bed and stuff. Chris got on his case and then he's like, okay, let's actually do this now.
Yes.
So.
I gotta be able to get on people's cases. Why do you?
I don't know.
The explosives are being set. We're all getting ready to hightail it out of there because explosives are about to go off. That means the entire fort base is going to be blown up. So I just to do one last screw it, and I go up to the leader. I just punch him in the face. I have been treated like garbage this entire trip. I want to punch someone in the face today. So I go up and punch the leader.
The emu leader? Or the
emu
officer?
leader.
Okay.
Not the could.
Actually, it's successful.
All right. So, as her frustrations have worn through, and she is charged up on her little, what we would call a hoverboard of legs, and she has punched the emu leader directly into the beak, which has sent him falling to the floor in a fit of rage while flapping his wings.
Does this negatively impact my money laundering business?
No. Because we are still backstage where the emu is, because the emu has come back to come check out what the commotion was while you are entertaining the masses out front.
Gotcha.
So he has been dropped, and the bodyguards are chasing after him, and we are now on the run because we are being chased down by people who are trying to avenge the punch in the face. So as we are running,
being chased by our feathered assailants, as they are trying to kill us and or capture us and or maim us, they are using their legs to pick up things and throw stuff at us as we are going along. And so I begin to dodge said things, dipping and dodging and dipping, just like dodgeball.
those are only
If
two
you
of
can-
the D's.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
You must remember all 5 and all 6 D's.
And
Dodgeball. Dodge,
Dodge,
dip, dive,
and dodge.
dodge.
And it is
Works.
success.
You have successfully dodged all of the attacks from said emus. And so has you people.
We make it, dodging all the emu's attacks, we make it out of the way that we came in. And we still have, that string trailing behind us for some reason. Like, I think the entire time someone was just rolling it out so that it was following us. Probably didn't help trying to escape the emus, because they probably followed the string. But now we're looking at the string and we're like, okay, does anyone have a match? And what about that laundry machine that we just left in there?
I can splash it, but I think that's counterproductive. So I'm still in the conference room. Do I remember correctly that there was a moat around the
stream.
like a stream around
There
the
was
thing?
a stream.
Okay,
That's how we got in.
So I've been doing my money laundering, but the place is about to blow, so it's time to get out of here. The important thing if you're doing criminal activity like money laundering is knowing when to stop. You got that, guys? Know when to stop. Anyways, now is the time to stop. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go for a window. I'm going to jump out and splash down in the river below.
To catch up with us.
Yes.
I got it. All right, let's see what we
Hopefully you
got.
guys are at the bank or something when I get there. And I can rejoin the group. It succeeds.
All right. So you succeed in ending your money laundering scheme. A couple of emus are kind of upset because they didn't get their money in before you left, but you weren't going to get the money back anyways because they're going to die, and it's just going to be your money. So as you have all of this loose, dirty money that you actually end up washing while you're running and stuff like that, naturally you're a washing machine. You kind of got to do it, and it's dirty money per se. Never know where it's been. So as you're running, splish-splashing along, you jump into the river, make a splash, you land, and you start making your way out the cave, following the string, and wondering if there's anybody following you as well.
Interesting.
On his way out, he does follow the string all the way back and eventually meets up with us. We have just a few stragglers left, and we have gotten away from the emus. So what we are faced with now is we have no matches, no lighter, and we have nothing else to do with this. So what I am going to do is I am going to donate the coins that I have inside me, as well as my body, to make sure that you guys can try to create a spark to light said fuse to go all the way back in. And it is a 3, so I am unsuccessful.
You take
Okay. So you release your coins to hopefully get like a sort of like fire starting situation going, but once we start trying to make a fire with them, we realize it was counterfeit money. That they weren't even made of metal; they were made of plastic, and so it just does not work in the slightest. And a couple emus are starting to. We see a couple emus like emerge from like out of the thing, following the string to where we are, because a big string's kind of a bit conspicuous.
Looks like a worm.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what it is.
I imagine some of them are like pecking at it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because it's fiberglass, it doesn't break.
Good.
Don't bring an influencer with you to a war. That's the dumbest decision ever.
Hey, the PR battle needs to be won.
So, when your self-sacrifice fails, I look at you and I insult you. Call you stupid. Because how does your machine... How is it not able to tell when money is fake?
I'm only supposed to go by the weight, not the texture. You're successful. I want to go to my room.
I hate Australia.
So it's successful, and now my feelings are hurt, and we're still nowhere near closer to lighting said fuse to get rid of the emus and end the Emu War. Thanks for that.
You did nothing possible.
But now the emus that were approaching us have now gotten closer to us, and there are three emu that are now standing between us and lighting the fuse.
As the feathered trio approaches us, as they do, walking up, I challenge a duel.
You challenge the 3.
All 3 of them at the same time. As they don't have arms, only have long necks and beaks.
Is it even
and
technically a
legs.
duel if it's a 3-on-1? Not a
Well,
duel,
they
specifically
could-
1-on-1.
They could kind of like,
Yeah.
one-on-one and they watch. I don't know how they do it. I'm not.
I'm being
Challenge
needlessly
the big one to
pedantic.
the duel,
Yeah.
and then they both jump in.
Yeah,
let's see how it
let's
works.
say that. Yeah, I'll challenge the biggest one out of the 3, which we didn't bring a ruler, but they all were just kind of like, all right, cool. And so
It's Tim, probably.
yeah, Tim, of course. So I duel Tim, as the other 2 watch, and
You gotta roll to see if it was successful.
oh yes.
That's your left miss, so yeah.
Yeah, you duel.
Dope. I start dueling Tim. How did the duel ensue?
Oh wait, that's not mine. So, you're dueling Tim, the biggest, baddest man emu out of the 3. I know, that was so disgusting. Your duel with him, it succeeds. You managed to knock him out unconscious. Not dead.
He's not dead.
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I'm capable. But you definitely knock him out long enough to where the other 2 emus are like, whoa, now hold on. So then the emus, they basically lock feathers. They join, it's like Voltron with the emus. And they lock feathers with you. They lock legs, not with you, with each other. They lock legs with each other, and they're like, they look like Doduo, the Pokemon. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And they're basically like approaching the group like that.
Okay.
Look a little
I
silly.
wish I knew what that looked like.
That's my favorite video.
What?
Nothing. I'll show you later.
Okay. So we've got like Emu Voltron now. That's great. So what I'm going to do, I am going to kind of run and just barrel into like one of the legs of the thing and try to like wipe it out that way.
Yeah, I picked up what you were putting down the other day.
And hopefully it works out. It does.
You successfully barrel into the legs of said Voltron emu, but you take it out.
Nice.
He does a big old spin, lands flat on his back, much like the leader earlier. They start squawking. They're like, "Ah, that sucked." Yeah.
Alright, so hopefully, now that that's taken care of, we can actually light this thing.
Hopefully.
As he falls, they knock down a tree into their base, and it hits their electrical components. We're out of the base. We're already moved on. But it does knock over, and it creates a fire.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm going to do...
That makes sense, given the size of
The size of the Emutron. Yeah, we gotta
It's
get
dry
it.
out there. It's like bush country.
Yeah, 100%. And their beaks squawking together and rocking together, and the robots moving around and creating friction, and we have now created fire. So what I'm going to do...
I feel like you've stolen the base there, but okay, I'll allow it.
It works.
Physics, you know.
It's
We're in Australia. Everything's upside down. Nothing makes sense.
True.
and it goes backwards.
Right, exactly.
So what we're going to do is we're going to send one of the soldiers over there to do that, and we are going to try to withdraw the rest of our campaign so we can head out and try to get getting as far as away. Well, we have one brave soldier who has decided to stay back and light said,
It is
successful. So we are withdrawing.
So,
Our man is on his way to lighting.
the commander of the Australian soldiers, who's been wonderful this whole time, a great, amazingly useful person. He volunteers to stay behind as you bark an order to everyone else. Like, get out of here! It's gonna blow! And he runs in. He like grabs the rope and sprints right at that bushfire, and he just like dives into it. Kind of like a self-immolation sort of thing. But the rope starts burning like that, and it just starts snaking, and then in like, because it's kind of a slow process. So we're just kind of huddled in the bush, kind of awkwardly watching to make sure that it actually blows up.
Is he just like on fire, like right there?
And he's probably like dead at this point, honestly. Like he dove right into an inferno.
I feel like it takes a little bit though. Are we just kind of like
let him have his self-sacrifice, Anyway,
he's a washing machine.
My current action is talk. I don't get splashed for another 2 cycles around.
Sucks for him, I guess.
He's just in there. He's
R.I.P.
engulfed in
homie.
flames.
And then we're just in the bush, silence, occasionally making a bit of small talk, and then 5-10 minutes later, boom, the emu base explodes. You ever seen Star Wars? It's the scene with the Death Star. It's like that, except in the outback with an emu base. And with that, the seed of power of the emu civilization has been destroyed, and the Australians and robots have won the Emu War.
Huzzah!
So, good work, everyone.
We have saved the day.
All right. That is Time Travel Entertainment Incorporated. If you liked what you saw here and want to try it yourself, make sure to go over to buttonshy.com and order yourself a copy. It's a good, fun role-playing game. Very simple. You can teach it to anyone in a matter of minutes. And it's a good fun time. So thank you all for being here. Any parting words for the audience?
Thanks for having us. Get the game.
All right.
Death to all emus. I'm watching you.
But not you.
See you all later. Thank you. Bye. I just waved at I waved at the microphone. See y'all later. No, I go for the wide angle. Wide angle.
Wide
Okay.
Hey!
Until next time, I've been CMeeCraft, and I'll catch you in the next video. Goodbye.